Mongolia established diplomatic relations with the state of Kuwait on June 17, 1975. Since then, Mongolia opened an embassy in Kuwait City in 2009 and Kuwait opened its embassy in Ulaanbaatar in 2010. Over the past 45 years, Mongolia has been developing friendly relations and cooperation with the state of Kuwait. Among Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) countries, Kuwait was the first country to establish diplomatic relations with Mongolia. And today, political relations between the two countries are highly developed, with a regular exchange of high-level visits helping to develop relations. Although Mongolia established diplomatic relations with the state of Kuwait in 1975, relations and cooperation between our two countries was quite stagnant until the 1990s. However, according to the Kuwaiti side, there were two factors that influenced a boost in relations and cooperation. First, Mongolia was one of the first countries to issue a statement expressing its support for Kuwait when in 1990, neighboring Iraq invaded the state of Kuwait. Second, Mongolia has been the main exporter of falcons to Gulf countries, including the state of Kuwait, since the 1990s. Bilateral political relations between the two nations have been highly developed for the past 45 years compared to relations in other sectors. Iraq's occupation of neighboring Kuwait on August 2, 1990 was the most difficult time the people of Kuwait had faced. US Secretary of State James Baker paid a visit to Mongolia during the Iraq invasion of Kuwait. When he received news from Washington, D.C. that Iraq had invaded the state of Kuwait, Secretary of State Baker and Mongolia's then Foreign Minister Komsurung issued a joint statement condemning the invasion. In this way, Mongolia was one of the first countries that actively criticized and disapproved of the invasion of Kuwait and issued an official statement supporting its independence. This event is still remembered by the Kuwaiti people. In fact, this diplomatic event supporting the freedom and independence of a nation carried out with a major world power had a major impact on Kuwait becoming the first Arab state to open an embassy in Ulaanbaatar. In essence, it was the basis for the development of political relations between the two countries. The former Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Jaber Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah, paid a special visit to Mongolia in October 1995 in gratitude for Mongolia's diplomatic stance against the Iraqi invasion. The visit was not only the first time a head of state from the Persian Gulf had paid a visit to Mongolia, but also a historic visit that opened the path to relations with other Gulf countries.
There is a lot of things in common between our two countries. Both of us peaceful countries. We are looking for good relations with our neighbors. We're trying our best, both of our countries, to enhance stability in our region and also in the world. I'm very happy and pleased with the relations between our two countries.
After the special visit of the Emir of the state of Kuwait, which laid the foundation for stimulating the development of relations. Then President of Mongolia Baghband made an official visit to Kuwait in 1998, during which he had talks for cooperation in all fields. During these high-level visits, the two countries signed several documents such as the 1995 Mongolian-Kuwaiti Intergovernmental Agreement on Economic and Technical Cooperation, the 1998 Mongolia-Kuwait Agreement for the Encouragement and Mutual Protection of the Investment, and a protocol on the expansion of economic cooperation and soft loans from the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development. When the Foreign Minister of Mongolia paid an official visit to the state of Kuwait in 2006, the Kuwaiti side pledged to provide economic assistance to Mongolia through the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development. After that, in August 2007, Kuwaiti Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah paid his first state visit to Mongolia. During the visit, the two countries agreed to expand their cooperation in many fields, including the economy, trade, the oil and gas industry, culture, and science, and concluded several agreements. The people of Mongolia are grateful that the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development has provided soft loans to the infrastructure and energy sectors of Mongolia, as well as grant aid in the health and humanitarian sectors. This assistance is a clear example of the friendly relations and cooperation between the two countries. To date, Kuwait has provided Mongolia with a total of $78.04 million in soft loans and $17.24 million in grant aid. The Kuwait Fund provided soft loans of $58.2 million for the construction of 415 kilometers of paved roads, 146 kilometer paved road between Irtnit, Bodghang and Unit, 88 kilometer paved road between Unit and Daryalang, and a soft loan of $19.7 million for construction of the Tashir hydropower plant in Gobi Alta province. The government of Kuwait donated 2 ambulances and medical equipment to the health department of Siling province in July 2017. A grant agreement for $3.5 million was signed by the government of Mongolia and the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development to finance an Underkhang airport renovation project on July 18, 2018. The Kuwaiti government was actively involved in Mongolia's Millennium Road project, which started in the early 2000s and resulted in the construction of about 500 kilometers of paved road. The Kuwait Fund's financing also played a significant role in the construction of the Tashir hydropower plant, an energy generation source in western Gobi Alta province. Mongolia has been cooperating with Kuwait in the road sector since 1996, starting with the construction of a paved road between Darkhan, Irtnit and Bodghang. As the project was successfully implemented, the Kuwaiti side provided a $20.5 million soft loan with 22-year maturity and a 2.5% interest rate for the construction of an 88-kilometer paved road between Unit in Bodghang province and Daryalang in Khubsut province. Kuwait is not only a country that gives humanitarian aid, but also a role model for countries in terms of humanitarian activism. The Mongolian Red Cross Society named the Kuwaiti Embassy in Mongolia the best humanitarian organization in 2017, which was a clear example of the high-level cooperation between the two countries in the humanitarian sector. Before the 1990s, the state of Kuwait used to support its neighboring developing countries through the Kuwait Fund. After 1990s invasion and conflict, Kuwait started to tie its foreign policy to investment, loans and aid to countries outside of its region, using its external relations policies to strengthen the country's sovereignty and security. That's how loans and grant aid have become an inseparable part of Kuwaiti's soft power policy.
Between 1996 and 2000, The Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development provided soft loans to Mongolia for funding the construction of paved roads between Darkhan and Irtent and the Irtent-Bolgan and Bolgan-Taralan highways. In addition, the state of Kuwait supported the construction of the Taisher hydroelectric power plant in Ghawalta province by providing a $19.7 million soft loan. In recent decades, the state of Kuwait has provided both grants and soft loans. As of now, a total of $79.2 million in soft loans has been provided.
Mongolia have a special feeling in my heart. If you recall, the late His Highness the Emir Sheikh Jabir Al-Ahmed Sabah, the ex-Emir of Kuwait, visited Mongolia for the first time in 1995. After that visit, I was the first Kuwait Fund official visiting Ulaanbaatar at that time. And I had, with my colleague from different organizations here in Kuwait, we had a fruitful discussion at that time, which initiated the first Kuwait Fund operation in Mongolia.
When it comes to future projects and programs, the Kuwait Fund focuses on the outcomes of previous projects financed by the fund, such as the efficient allocation of soft loan financing and proper spending of grant aid, because the fund is spending the wealth of its people as part of its foreign policy. The fund has no strict conditions for the provision of soft loans or grant aid. However, the fund's management team emphasized that, most importantly, the project's implementation should be transparent and open.
Let me put this as an example. At the first time we had cooperation, for example, with the Ministry of Public Work. Because it is the first time, they need to cope with us, how to our work, how we deal, how things is going on. You might face the same problem if we're financing a project in different sector. Let's say in the water sector, we will deal with a different department, i.e. like the Ministry of Water Supply, if you have it. We might have an issue at the beginning because we just, this is a new idea for them. They never dealt with the Kuwait Fund like the Public Work Ministry or like the Power Ministry. So this is not unique thing for Mongolia. We're facing this with all countries. For the first time, we need to introduce each other. We need to show how our law and charter work, how the systems work. In most cases, those officials, when they find out that we are different than the other, we work on their behalf, we work in the favor of the recipient country, things start moving toward the positive side.
Investment. The state of Kuwait has invested $490,000 in Mongolia since 2011. Bilateral trade turnover reached $34.6 thousand as of 2019. In terms of trade turnover has been active since 2014. Looking at statistical figures from 2014 through 2019, export was uninterrupted and has steadily declined year by year with very little import. Imported items include a small number of household plastic products, tents, outdoor camping gear and equipment, outdoor mattresses and blankets, and furniture. Export items include similar goods such as carpet and rugs. In recent years, the two sides have been focusing on expanding trade and economic relations based on good and friendly political relations. In particular, Mongolia has the capacity to meet the demand for Kashmir products in Arab countries. Mongolian companies often express their interest in this direction for trade, and the Mongolian embassy has already submitted a Kashmir proposal to the state of Kuwait, for which negotiations are still underway. However, it is a project that mostly depends on efforts made by Mongolian companies. Mongolia has also expressed its interest in exporting halal lamb to Kuwait from its western provinces. However, it will take some time to implement export due to a lack of transport and logistic solutions, cold storage technology and other export requirements. It still remains a potential export market. Mongolia has friendly relations with other countries in the Gulf region. There are several countries, namely Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Oman in the Persian Gulf, also known as the Arabian Gulf. 55 million people live in all of the Gulf Cooperation Council nations. Many of these countries share very similar views, cultures, values, and lifestyle, as well as similar climates. Therefore, there is potential for Mongolia to export Kashmir products to this large market. On average, Kuwaiti citizens spend 1.5 billion USD per year on overseas travel. According to officials, as they travel mostly to European countries in the summer, there is enough demand for Kashmir products in these countries. Although Kuwait is a clear example of an oil-based economy, the country is trying to diversify its economy beyond oil, focusing on its vision, referred to as New Kuwait Vision 2035, like other countries in the region. Mongolia and Kuwait are seeking opportunities to develop closer relations in other areas on the occasion of the 45th anniversary of their relationship.
Of course, political relations between the two countries are highly developed. Economic and trade relations leave much to be desired. From our perspective, Mongolia receives soft loans and grant aid often. But I want to highlight that we cannot perceive that Mongolia is only taking aid and grants from its counterpart. Kuwait also has its own soft power policy. Therefore, they invest in the development of its partner countries by issuing soft loans and grants. Currently, the trade turnover leaves much to be desired. In 2019, Kuwaiti export to Mongolia reached $110,000, while Mongolia exported $36,000 worth of products. Mainly, it was Mongolian cosmetic product manufacturers that wanted to test the soil in the Arabian market. In general, we have the potential to export non-mining sector products like meat, cashmere, and cosmetic products.
When it comes to humanitarian relations, all visitors aside from those who hold diplomatic and official passports require a visa to travel. Currently, there are 15 Mongolian citizens living in Kuwait. 2 students from Mongolia are studying in Kuwait on a Kuwaiti government scholarship. According to an agreement between the two countries, annually up to 5 undergraduate students are eligible to get a Kuwaiti government scholarship. However, there are very few students who can meet the eligibility requirements for pursuing a bachelor's degree in Kuwait, because the applicant must meet Arabic language proficiency standard and must be a first or second year student of a university in their home country. Mongolian students have opportunities to become Arabic language specialists while studying in Kuwait and becoming a bridge for future relations with Gulf countries.
We see that we can expand our friendly relations for cooperation in a wider range of sectors. There is the possibility of adopting a visa waiver between our countries. In addition, the national carriers of Qatar and the United Arab Emirates have expressed interests in operating direct flights to Mongolia. We believe that that's possible. With direct flights, we expect growth in economic and trade ties. In terms of economic ties, we have already submitted our project proposals. It's a soft loan proposal for construction of a paved road between Datl and Underhang. We agreed that further negotiations will be held on this matter. In terms of cultural activities, Mongolian Culture Days will be organized in April. The Fine Art Gallery, Nord Art, will display an anniversary exhibition.
Доор өнгөрсөн оны 9 сард
Every year, 2 students come to Kuwait to learn about Arabic culture and language. And I'm one of those students, and I have been studying here for over 6 months now.
тийм жилийн хугацаатай.
فتحنا العديد من النوافذ لتوقيع.
As long as Kuwaiti-Mongolian relations expand, we're interested in developing relations in the tourism industry. In this context, we will focus on entering into an intergovernmental agreement on cooperation in the field of tourism proposed by the Mongolian side. Also, we are keen to cooperate on visa issuance on arrival at the border ports to promote travel between the two countries. I am confident that the number of tourists from our country interested in going to Mongolia will increase, as Mongolia is a vast country with a rich cultural heritage. I think, in turn, you should work hard to promote your country to the people of Kuwait. Our tourism office and the Ministry of Information are eager to assist you regarding this.
The media plays a significant role in developing relations. Therefore, the two sides launched the Journalists Exchange Program to increase and deepen public understanding of the two countries and their relationship in 2018, and finished the first stage of the program successfully in 2019. The second stage of the program was also implemented successfully in February 2020. The program offered opportunities for 5 Mongolian journalists to travel to the state of Kuwait, and the team learned about the activities of many organizations and their future goals, such as the Kuwaiti legislature, media, and the oil and gas industry. For Kuwait, the media sector is considered to be the main bridge for successful foreign policy and promotion of its country around the globe. Therefore, the country attaches great importance to expanding media cooperation with Mongolia.
We are happy to have a Mongolian media delegation visiting us now to basically, market the friendly ties we have with Mongolia. As you know, His Highness the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Sabah, is very fond of Mongolia, has a place there and visits regularly, and so we would like the people of Kuwait to know why Mongolia is so popular. I have been there. I have seen the beauty of Mongolia. I've been to quite a few locations, some inside the city, some not, some a few hours away, and I was very impressed by the natural beauty of the landscape of Mongolia. So, but coming back to your question, we have this delegation that's going to visit, this cultural delegation, about 30 people will come here to Kuwait and perform their art, their dance for the Kuwaiti people to see.
The two countries are paying special attention to increasing cultural exchanges in connection with the anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations.
In the contacts between our two ministries of foreign affairs, we touched all areas which we can cooperate in. Of course, the political relation, as you mentioned, is excellent, but this is not enough. We have to strengthen the relation in other fields. And now there is a lot of talks in encouraging the private sector in both countries to get in contact together to explore the potentials and opportunities in investing either in Mongolia or receiving some companies who should work or would like them to work in Kuwait. So there is many areas we are trying to enhance our trade relations in the field of investments, in the field of also doing some mutual projects between our two governments, or also between the private sector in Kuwait and Mongolia. We are going forward in that direction. I hope that in the next consultations between our two the ministries of foreign affairs in our two countries, that we can witness some development in that direction.
The first consultative meeting between the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia and Kuwait was held in April 2019 to expand the ties between the two countries. The parties exchanged information on the political and economic situation of the two countries and on regional issues, and expressed their positions on the key issues of further cooperation between the two countries. Also, the parties hosted a meeting of the Intergovernmental Commission of Mongolia and the State of Kuwait in February 2020 in the framework of the 45th anniversary of diplomatic relations, and the second stage of the journalists exchange program was organized from February 15th to 24th. The sides also agreed to host Mongolian Cultural Days in Kuwait this year. Strong people-to-people links contribute significantly to the strength of bilateral relations, and cultural diplomacy is a good way to build a good relationships. In the international arena, we are friendly partners who share our achievements and experience. Mongolia supported Kuwait in becoming a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council in June 2017. The two sides concluded that the diplomatic support was a reflection of the coordination and scope of relations between the two countries. Although we are countries that are far away from each other, that haven't yet developed strong trade and economic relations, a special and friendly relationship between the people of Mongolia and Kuwait has already been established. Over the past 45 years, thanks to the great efforts of the country's diplomats, we have managed to develop friendly and mutually beneficial relations with the state of Kuwait in the Arab Gulf, and to a certain extent developed good ties that can be an example in international relations. There is no doubt that the opportunities to expand these friendly relations into a strategic partnership in the future are before us.